Greetings. Welcome into paulkuharsky.com. Glad to have you here. Premium, free broadcast talking all things Titans. Happy to have you on board. I will let the masses assemble and I will be right with you. Lots going on, and we need to talk about all these things. So, I'm just going to embed this tweet in a post and we'll get going. Hope you've all had a good bye week. Know you wanted the Bills to win this game against the Patriots badly. Did not get that result. Patriots were very good, but the Bills were really bad. And that was very unfortunate. I think Patriots got a little bit too much credit. I mean, they obviously did what they needed to win the game, but I didn't think it was a masterful game plan to not run the ball and not throw the ball at all. It's good that you can win that way, but you'd like your guy to be able to throw a little bit. They just couldn't. They didn't need him to, which is obviously nice, attractive, all of that stuff. But it'd be good too if you could throw it a little bit. So it wasn't a testament to Mac Jones's arm by any means. We can certainly say that. I'll be just finishing up this post. Tweeting that out and coming to your questions. And I see the tweet is landing from members. So that's great. All right, here we go. Questions lining up. 8-5, John McLeod predicting a loss to the mighty Jaguars. I think they've gotten their losses to terrible teams out of their system. I would hope if they were to lose to the Jets, the Texans, and the Jaguars, I would say that they deserve whatever fate awaits them. Happy holidays. Good to see you, Merck, DB, Jamie. Patriots quarterback on your fantasy team, Merck. So you got a lot of points there. That was a big night. Do I expect Julio Jones to be on the Titans roster next season? Mark asks. Right now I would say no, but he's got 5 regular season games and potentially a playoff run to see. I think he counts 15, 17, something like that. I don't remember after the restructure. So he could do something between now and then that would change expectations. But as of now, absolutely not. But things could change between now and the end of the Titans season. If that Titans season were to end in Los Angeles with him, making a major contribution, then things would change. Kane, is this a serious question? I mean, I understand you guys like Compton. I like Compton. Compton's a terrific guy. Compton can't run. Why are you anxious to? I mean, David Long should be getting healthy. Rashaan Evans should be getting healthy. Why would they need Compton? I just don't understand the fascination. No fan base in America, no fan base in the NFL, I'll certainly say, latches on to middling players and doesn't let go more than the Tennessee Titans. At his best, Compton was a good special teams player and a reasonable rundown defender. He's well beyond his best. Now, is he better than Dylan Cole? Probably. Were they desperate when they played Dylan Cole on defense? Yes. Are they past that? Yes. I can't imagine that Racey McMath would be playing on offense this week. But we'll see. I mean, AJ, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Chester Rogers would probably be the top three. Golden Tate in the mix now. I mean, who's to say what's on what clock here, Josh, in terms of Tannehill and Henry? Who's done first? Who's done when? Tannehill's played lousy this season, and he's played lousy since Henry's gone down. But again, the idea that Tannehill is bad because Tannehill's system or line is crazy. If you don't have Mahomes, if you don't have Aaron Rodgers, if you don't have Tom Brady, you have a quarterback that's probably going to need to be part of a system. I don't think Tannehill should be crucified or scored down in a big way. That at his best, he's part of the system where they have a good running back and effective play action, and he's really good at that. Titans found the quarterback that fit what they do. He fits what they do. They fit what he does, and it's been a happy marriage. Now, when the wheels come off of what they do, he can't carry them. He needs to do a little bit more. Asking him to do a lot more is crazy. And asking him to do a lot more without Julio Jones or A.J. Brown or Marcus Johnson on the field is kind of crazy. Defense and the run game, even without Henry, need to do their parts or they're not going to have a chance. But that's what he is. Everybody's so surprised at what he isn't. We know what he isn't. That doesn't make him bad. It makes him him. I don't know if I go this far, Mark. I mean, Tannehill last month hasn't been very good. Tannehill's got one fewer interception than he has touchdown. So he's not doing well. And they've won a little bit despite him. He needs to settle down, play better if they're going to stay a 2 seed. And it doesn't really matter what seed you are going to the playoffs if you get there and you can't win a game. Everybody wants to cut Saffold and Lewan. Now, Saffold, at least there's a quality replacement on the roster. Aaron Brewer's been very good in place of Nate Davis. And so he's an up-and-comer, and I think he could play a starting guard spot next year. But remember, the Titans suck at finding offensive linemen. So, if Brewer was on this team, is a starting guard on this team next year, that's fine. He's not going to be as good as Roger Saffold, who's underrated as a run blocker in particular. But I'll go ahead and forward that to Lewan. Lewan next year will be better. 2 years removed from the ACL. Remember what happened with Jack Conklin. Lewan's contract was front loaded. He's not as expensive next year as people think. And if you get rid of Lewan, you're going to have to spend money to replace Lewan. I don't know why you'd want this team drafting a left tackle. This team can't draft offensive linemen. Nate Davis was a hit. Isaiah Wilson is a disaster. Dylan Radins is not good. They're not good. Outside offensive linemen, big ticket item, Roger Saffold was good. All these other guys, not very good. Don't tell me that Quisenberry's some great find. He's not. They like to play sixth offensive lineman as fifth offensive lineman, which is a problem. And I'd just be careful what you wish for in terms of kicking an offensive lineman off this roster and putting them in position to have to go find one. This is true, Adam. This is true. I recognize a lot of you as members, but others I do not recognize. I'm Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com. I run a membership site. So if you are a member of my site, you get private chats like this with a relatively smaller, nicher audience. We all kind of know each other. There's not a lot of riffraff and garbage going around. We have smart, intelligent discussions, including from the press box a few hours after every Titans game is over, including after significant Titans news breaks, sometimes news that I break. All at the cheap cost of $5.99 a month, or right now, 25% off a yearly membership, which is a steal at that price. You get everything that I write, which is the most insightful and unique Titan stuff around. It's holiday special, 25% off a yearly membership is just $53.91. You get everything that I write. You get game previews and game reviews from Blake Bedingfield, the Titans 19-year scout who still does all kinds of special projects for unknown teams and prospects around the league and coming into the league. You get entry into our private Facebook page where we talk amongst ourselves, ticket exchanges, etc. You get 5% off at TennesseeTickets.com, a great place to buy tickets, not just for Titans games and sporting events, but concerts and the like. If you buy stuff to games and events on a regular basis, that adds up pretty quickly and can be pretty advantageous. People in here who are members will tell you it's well worth the deal. So I would encourage you to check it out. Even if you check it out for $5.99 for 1 month, it's the price of a fancy cocktail or a cup of coffee. It's actually less than that. So come join us, be part of the gang, or buy it as a gift for a big Titans friend of yours. You can sign up now under your email. I can flip the email address or the account information on Christmas, right before Christmas, whatever you want. Please give it a thought and a chance. Ed Henry asks, who's more important for this defense, Bud Dupree or David Long? I'd say they're both pretty important. I think that we've seen some success for Autry, Simmons, and Landry, independent of Dupree. And so I might say David Long in that regard. Both pretty important. I also think Long's probably back this week. If not this week, next week. And Dupree could be back for Pittsburgh as well. I'll give you that code for Tennessee Ticket right after you're a member, Zell. Here's testimony from an early member who's in the All-22, which is a super early thing. Easton, people are over-optimistic about any name. They know Golden Tate's name. They know Golden Tate has had success in the league. They do not put age on people. People don't get worse. People don't get older. They take Golden Tate in his prime and they plug him into the Titans and they expect him to save him, to save the team. I think he'll contribute a little bit. I think he'll do more than Des Fitzpatrick would do. And that's a low bar. I mean, you'll not see an extension for Harold Landry while the Titans are still playing. If they get an extension for Harold Landry done, it'll likely be right before the start of free agent. They've done it before, but with whom? With Henry, crucial must-have guy who they had tagged. With Tannehill, who's a quarterback, which is a different position. If you're out there, remind me what other free agents to be they've secured with free agency pending. It's very difficult to do. They need him. Look, he's benefiting from those other guys being good, which is fine. But you can't let a young pass rusher go who you've developed because you need to replace him. And the way to replace him is to draft and develop again, which you'll have to wait on, or go get another guy in free agency. And they just paid Dupree. I think they need to. I think they need to resign him, but I wouldn't expect it until right on the eve of free agency. Everybody should retweet if you're on Twitter. Please retweet that you are in this conversation. Bye week does not count towards your IR stay. You have to be 3 games. You have to miss 3 games, not 3 weeks. 3 games, not 3 weeks. Next 5 games, I would expect the Titans to beat the Texans. I would expect the Titans to beat the Jaguars and to beat beat Houston. So beat Jacksonville, beat Houston. Probably beat one of Pittsburgh and Miami. So 3 wins. Lose that other AFC game. Maybe lose to San Francisco. 3-2, which gets them to 8, 9, 10, 11 wins. Tate is old. I don't have his age off the top of my head. Jarrell with a U got an extension mid-season. I'm not sure he got it mid-season. I think he got it during training camp, which isn't mid-season. They would have a franchise tag situation. That is correct, Aubrey. They would have a franchise tag situation with Landry, which would keep him in their control, give him a chance to negotiate with him to try to get his number down. Mark says that Tate is 33. Given my affiliation with the Titans, am I worried about being placed on IR? Well, I don't have an affiliation with the Titans. And I got a booster shot and a flu shot today. So I feel pretty confident about my situation. Bud Dupree is eligible to return for the Pittsburgh game, which is when? Next week, right? Biggest news break about the Titans. I broke that Reggie White was coming out of retirement when he went to Carolina. The Titans were talking to him. That was a pretty big one. I broke that Les Steckel was leaving to go to Tampa Bay. I broke Lewan's stuff that he was his new contract. I broke that LaFleur was going to be the coordinator for Vrabel on his initial staff. Those are just ones that come to mind off the top of my head. We'll say, well, there's a long stretch of my career, 9 years while I was at ESPN, where I was certainly welcome to break news, but I wasn't charged with breaking news because I worked with Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen, and I was asked to watch, to be a reactor to news as opposed to a news breaker. Now I pick and choose my spots on what I want to choose and invest my time in and what I don't. Any indication from inside the building on the expectations for Julio this week? They don't even know what the expectations are for Julio this week. He hasn't been on the field yet. I think that he will be back this week. I think that's been sufficient time to recover from a hamstring. I think Shane Bowen's been pretty good this year. I mean, the defense has been much improved. Third down defense much improved. Pass rush much improved. And just a couple weeks ago, I asked guys. I asked Simmons and I asked Saffold. Now, Saffold hasn't gone against this pass rush since the preseason, since training camp. But I asked them both if they had to pick one thing, what it would be, like the one thing that's keyed the pass rush turnaround. And they both talked about communication, and coordination and communication. When they're using the specific word coordination last year as a problem, and they're using the specific word coordination this year as a solution, and the guy's name is coordinator, guy's title is coordinator, and last year there officially was no coordinator, I think that's pretty much a testament. I did break the illegal practice at Brentwood Academy last year during the COVID stuff. I mean, you could look at A.J. Brown. I'll have to pull it up right now. A.J. Brown is, is going to get a nice contract. But if you look at A.J. Brown's career right now, he's had 2,000-yard seasons. In his rookie year, he averaged 20.2 yards a catch, which was extraordinary. Last year, he was down 4.5 yards a catch to 15.4. Yards per target was down 2.5 yards. He trended down last year. Now, we know he had a good year. He was hurt. He missed 2 games hurt. Up to 70 receptions from 52. And this year's been a wash. I think he's still got some proving to do next year, particularly in the health department. I don't know. It'd be nice to lock him up this year, but yeah, there's been nothing to see of Julio. They haven't. They probably had a light jog through-ish practice on Monday. It wasn't open. He'll be on the field a little bit tomorrow, presumably. Adam asks, is Autry the most impactful free agent that J-Rob has signed? Well, Ryan Tannehill was a trade. Roger Saffold was pretty damn impactful. I would say Saffold and Autry. I'm concerned about Autry the last 2 games. I don't understand this question at all. Like, why would they... Mr. Hart asks, what's really going on with Rashaan Evans? I don't remember him getting hurt in a game. Is this more of a healthy, hidden scratch type of situation? Why would they be healthy, hidden scratching Rashaan Evans when they're reduced to playing Dylan Cole? I think Rashaan Evans is a pretty bad player, but he's better than Dylan Cole. So why would they be healthy scratching Rashaan Evans, who actually had a couple decent games this year? Why would they be healthy, hidden scratching him healthy? Like, why are you coming up with conspiracy theories? You don't have to see a guy get hurt in a game for him to be hurt. Could have hurt himself in practice. Could have played through an injury in a game and had it swell up the next day. If you never heard of a guy like, finishing a game with a fractured Derrick Henry. Did you see Derrick Henry get hurt? I mean, there was no specific play on which Derrick Henry got hurt, but do you think that he's faking needing surgery for his broken foot and missing all these games as a secret hidden scratch? Don't look for conspiracies where there are none. I mean, it's a little weird that they didn't put Rashaan Evans on IR, but clearly each week they've thought he had a chance. I mean, probably not the first couple of weeks. They thought he'd miss a couple of weeks, but then they thought he had a chance to improve and get better, and he hasn't at the rate that they wanted. And certainly when Jam Brown and David Long are healthy, they feel all right about not having Rashaan Evans out there. But there's no secret, hidden, healthy scratch going on. That's ridiculous. I mean, against the Texans, Kane, I think Tyrod Taylor threw the ball 11 times. It was quick stuff. There wasn't much of an opportunity. Against New England, there were some opportunities, and they didn't take advantage of them. So cumulatively, the last two games, disappointing. They got to get back on track. Those three guys, Simmons, Autry, and Landry, to me, are the most reliable collective unit on this team. And this team needs to be able to bank on that group to set a tone and to be impactful players and to cause some chaos, to create some stuff. I don't know, Jamie. I mean, I don't think Henry's going to be making a monstrous contribution in the playoffs if he resurfaces at all. I don't think you can count on Julio Jones for anything in the playoffs. So there are two of the three big pieces on offense that to me makes it hard to count on anything. Can they make a legitimate run without those two guys? I mean, the AFC's wide open. So maybe if other people are playing better, if A.J. Brown's back and playing well, they got to have him. Tannehill's got to be playing much better, much smarter. And that defensive front I was just talking about has got to be storming the castle. Every coach on defense, Heath, has input into the defensive game plan. They sit around a big conference table. They draw up a game plan together. Rabel, Bowen, Schwartz, defensive position coaches, everybody. That's how game planning works. Adam, I'm with you. Rashaan Evans, you got guys around the league who are sideline to sideline, inside linebackers, playmakers. I didn't know if he was going to be Luke Kuechly, but he's supposed to be something a lot closer to that than what Rashaan Evans is. He's been a huge disappointment, and I'm looking for him to go somewhere and be a situational guy on a one-year deal after this. I just don't understand this question, Paul. Why would I be surprised that Tartt's not on IR? He's got a hamstring, and they judge it to be a 1 or 2 week injury. So why would I be surprised that he's not on IR? I mean, Tannehill's been disappointing this year. But this idea that he's supposed to be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady is ridiculous. So I don't know what fans are looking for exactly. I think the expectation with multiple concussions, Ed, is that you return probably more slowly. I don't expect Henry to be the guy coming off this type of injury. In a playoff game, do I see him carrying 28 times for 155 yards and 3 touchdowns like I would expect him to do in the playoffs? Healthy? Absolutely not. And I think a big man with a problem with the outside of his foot is more problematic than a slight wide receiver, who's the kind of guy that usually has this kind of injury. Merck, I think 3 more wins. This gets him to 11. So 11-6. I don't know. That's, I mean, they win the division and they get, 2 or 3 probably. This stuff is still being adjudicated, Matt. There's some motions in this where trying to get some more information. It's interesting. I understand why the Titans don't want situations to emerge where their building is infiltrated with fans from other teams. I also understand why a PSL holder feels like he or she should be able to sell their tickets to whoever the hell they want. And the Titans' problem isn't who their fans are choosing to sell their tickets to in a free market economy. The Titans' problem is they need more loyal fans, a bigger base of loyal fans. And they need to produce that by fielding more frequent winning football teams and a culture of fandom that wants to be at every game in premium seats. It's a tough situation. But if I own tickets to a game, I should be able to do with them whatever I want. And if I have a pair of tickets to a game against the Chiefs, and I can sell those tickets, 4 tickets, say, to a game against the Chiefs, and I sell those and it pays for my whole season of tickets, that's my fucking prerogative. It's not my problem. It's your problem. And you can't solve it by writing up rules on the fly about who I can sell my tickets to. It's going to be awfully hard to get past the Patriots, who have a 1-game lead, a head-to-head tiebreaker, and a conference record tiebreaker. So they should have beat the Patriots. Evans is not as good against the run as he used to be. Goes to wrong gap, unreliable. I mean, the state of the Titans is pretty obvious. Good team when healthy, pretty well coached team. Desperately missing running back and the receivers to injury, need to get healthy. Reliant on the pass rush, which is much improved. Promising in an AFC that doesn't have dominant team or teams. But lost to 2 bad teams, which put them in a hole. I can't afford any more of that shit. This tight end thing, I told everybody that they were being very nonchalant and ignoring the tight end spot and just thinking that guys like Firkser were going to bump up and be good, and Firkser's terrible. Now, they moved towards more 3 wide and less 2 tight, and then Julio Jones isn't available, and you don't have a very good third wide. Josh Reynolds a bust. Marcus Johnson hurt twice. Yeah, so I mean, they didn't sufficiently replace Jonnu. They don't sufficiently game plan for the guys they have, but probably because they're not good enough because of the lack of talent. Everybody retweet. If you're in here via Twitter, retweet. Well, I don't think Davis was worth it. I don't think Jonnu or Davis were worth the money. But I think if Jonnu was here, you'd be scheming for him the same as you were in the system previously, and he'd be more productive here. I think Davis probably would have been more productive here too. And in hindsight, not at their prices, but would you rather have Corey Davis here than Julio Jones? In hindsight, absolutely. Now, Davis got more money than Julio Jones got. Jonnu Smith, they didn't have the money. And would you rather have Bud Dupree? In the long run, I think you're going to have rather had Bud Dupree. Julio Jones, Adam, is under contract for next year, so they don't have to try to re-sign him. They're going to have to cut him. I agree with this, Easton. You should be making that clear. I don't know from your position if it's an appropriate thing, but fans should be making it clear. Game day experience at Nissan Stadium is not what it could be. And I have to be honest, I was in New England. I love the music they play in New England, but it's suited for somebody like me. But I think somebody like me is the type of guy that owns a PSL and is buying a ticket. But the biggest difference between Gillette Stadium and Nissan Stadium are all the banners hanging there for Super Bowl wins. Stadium's not that different. It's roughly the same age, and it's no big problem with the stadium there. There aren't that many other options in terms of the NFL. In fact, there are zero other options in terms of the NFL. The NFL is the number one sports entertainment thing in the country. I don't know what all these other options are on a Sunday afternoon in Nashville. There's live music here. I'm familiar with it. I've lived here since 1997. New York City, there are a billion options. And the Giants and the Jets, I understand the population element, but, the Bears suck, but people are into the Bears. The big money in Nashville have many other options. So I didn't read that correctly. But the Titans are good, and it's a pretty big event, and there's more big money here than ever. I don't know what the other options are that are NFL level options. NFL is sports entertainment king. Well, what are you telling me? They're going to sounds instead? Yeah, well, Durka, it's a 17-game season. Like, you're telling me everybody bails on the Titans because they lost their opener to the team that turns out to be the best team in football? They were 8-2 a little while ago. They beat 6 really good teams in a row. But it's too late. Everybody was out on them because they lost their first game of 17. It's silly. I don't think they need a new stadium. I think they need a really quality revamp of Nissan Stadium. Now, the plan that they put forth is completely insufficient. You're going to build some fancy suites up in the corners, which are the shittiest seats in the stadium. That's not good enough. You need to do something like they did in Miami, which is what they indicated that they would do. But the plan they put out isn't that. Matt, no offense, but Golden Tate's been sitting around doing nothing. You think he's a nice fit because you liked Golden Tate like 5 years ago when Golden Tate was good. He's from Nashville, and you know his name. But I'm not colorful on Outkick. You think Golden Tate is like a tight end? No, Adam. McNichols is better than Hilliard. How quickly you fall in love. Remember the last time McNichols fumbled? Me neither, because he hasn't. This is silly. Like, I mean, you think that they're actually saying like, hey, let's go out and win for Fisher and Reese. They do their best to win every game. If they happen to lose on a retirement ceremony Sunday, it's, tough break. It's a young franchise in a city that's growing by leaps and bounds. It's okay for fans to jump on board when they're good, like they have been for the last 5 years. I'm not good at answering this, Jamie, because I've not been a fan during the game day experience. But I could tell you ease of entry is something. Now, it seems like they've generally solved it, but don't tell fans to get there an hour early. That's bullshit. Nobody wants to be there an hour early. Get everybody in when they want to get in. It seems like they're making progress there. McNichols' job isn't to take handoffs. McNichols is a third down back who they throw to, and he's very good at his job. And Hilliard shouldn't have his job. McNichols, I think, is safe as the third down back, and he should be. He's been very good at that job. Hilliard's had a couple good games, and as is typical, Adam, I'm not picking at you. I'm picking at you as representative of the fan base. If you do a good thing for the Titans, you are anointed. Tell me how much you loved Mekhi Sargent before Hilliard. Before Hilliard took off, I bet you were pissed off that Hilliard was here instead of Mekhi Sargent. Because Mekhi Sargent lit it up in the preseason against Scrubs, and he was the second coming. He was a guy that should have been taking snaps away from Derrick Henry, right? Tannehill is just what Tannehill has been, except that he's throwing interceptions and pressing a little bit. But this idea that Tannehill was equipped to take over a team that lost its best player and somehow beat Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers is completely misguided. If you thought that, that's on you. That's not on Tannehill. He needs to play better for sure. But he needs to elevate himself and other people. But if you think he's going to single-handedly carry this team, you thought he was somebody he's not. That's on you. That's not on him. Oh, Burke feels like he's done a good job for sure. What are the next steps? I mean, the franchise needs to win. They need to win. They need to improve the game day experience. I'm not the guy that could tell you about that the best. You guys are the ones who could tell you me. I think that's good. Dig up. Game day experience. Win that makes a good game day experience. But you shouldn't have to wait 45 minutes for a bottle of water at concessions on a hot day. Winning doesn't make up for that. There's no reason they should be inefficient to that degree and not have a functional operation. There's no reason for that. All right. I think we're running to the end here. Make another sales pitch, paulkuharsky.com. $5.99 a month, as you can see here below me on the screen. But right now, you can go to paulkuharsky.com and get a year which usually is 12 months for the price of 11. Now you can get that 25% off, $53.91. You can get that for yourself. You can get that for a friend, family member. Great Christmas present. Very, very easily done. Then you can email me. I can change the username, the password, the email address, anything you need me to change to turn it over to somebody at Christmas time or whenever. Easily done. You can put it in their name right out of the start and then just tell them about it when the time comes. You get access to everything on the site, articles, videos, scouting previews and reviews from 19-year scout Blake Bedingfield, a good friend of mine who writes great stuff unlike anything else you're going to find on the web. Entrance into regular private broadcast chats like this one, which are very rarely open to the public. Priority placement in mailbag posts. A spot in the private Facebook group where we discuss everything, where people sometimes sell their tickets, give away their tickets, all kinds of good stuff like that. You get a 5% discount at Tennessee Tickets. That's not just on Titans tickets. That's on tickets to anything they sell, which could be the big concert in town. You use that a couple times, you more than pay for your membership. It's a good deal all around. And I've covered the team since 1996 when they were the Houston Oilers. Nobody's got as much historical insight and perspective on this team, or as much critical thinking about what they're doing, what they're not doing. Nobody's as connected as I am. And virtually everybody in this room who's a member will tell you what a great value it is. So I hope you will consider signing up for yourself or as a gift to someone else. I'm on Outkick 360 every day with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow. We talk a lot of Titans, NFL, SEC. We talk football every single day of the year. So you should come listen to us. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter Live. And we're on 2 to 5 Central every weekday. And if you can't catch us live broadcasting like that, as soon as the show's over, we're then on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and all of those fine podcast platforms. So you should catch us there. Appreciate you coming in. And as I beg of people at the end of every broadcast I'm involved with, I'll ask you not to block the box and to be sure to lock your locks. I appreciate all of you coming in. Spread the word. And I'll see you soon. I'll talk to members Sunday from the Nissan Stadium press box after the Titans and Jaguars finish doing whatever it is they'll be doing. Thanks a lot. Have a great night. Cheers.